I think we're good to go, Logan.
You got the intro today? You can introduce us?
No,
What is this? Who are we?
we should do one of those cool songs.
One of those cool modern hip woke songs
Yeah.
that are all the jazz, all the rage these days. Yeah.
Like from
This
a German disco.
from a
Or
Ger-
whatever they call those German raves. A
Nts,
rave.
nts,
Yeah.
nts. I think like Avicii. Have you ever heard of Avicii?
I have not.
Levels. I'm gonna plug in my phone. In case we need to play any audio later. Yeah, we're JV Takes. I would say we're probably the second most modern, advanced wrestling podcast in Minnesota because
We're the least hip.
we are the
I
least
think
hip.
that's fair to say.
We are the oldest. We're the most outdated by far. These other
sure.
guys are just cutting edge.
Yes. Yes.
But you know, when we got into the game, we kind of knew it was a cutthroat industry. It's like, they say it's the Silicon Valley of southeastern Minnesota out here.
So for the people that don't know what the heck we are talking about, you gonna fill them in?
Yeah. So I'll be honest, I was a little bit behind on my Alan Josh. So have you been staying up to date? Pretty good on.
I have, but then you mentioned that this intro had happened 3 times, so I must kind of tune out the intro.
Well, you tune stuff out.
I tune out
You
a lot of stuff.
You tune
yeah.
me out quite a bit, so you tune out Alan Josh too. Yeah, Alan Josh, they're like, we thought they were the grandfathers of Minnesota wrestling podcasts, but it turns out that they're the new up-and-comers because this morning, I think it was the Guillotine who tweeted it out or put it on their website or something, but Alan Josh came out with a new podcast a couple days ago, which, side note, it was a really good episode. There was lots of notes in there on like the UWL Augsburg duel, which is a super fun rivalry, and then a bunch of high school wrestling in Minnesota. But the highlight of the podcast was like the first 15 seconds because they've got a new intro song, and I'm checking this out, mind you, at like 6 in the morning. I'm just sitting there in my sweatpants doing a radio show, and I press play on their podcast. And it is the most aggressive, like EDM, make you feel like you're at a rave music ever.
You sent it to me,
I sent it to you.
and I flip it on, and I'm like, I thought you were playing a joke on me because I wasn't really paying. It was early. I wasn't paying attention, and I just like, Logan, did you just send me the podcast when you did the live broadcast at Sugar's? Because I was like, what is this? And then all of a sudden I hear Al Venz come in. This is the Al and Josh podcast or whatever they do. And I'm like, oh, you've got to be kidding me.
There are some parallels between their music and the music I heard out at Sugar. So I'm going to plug this in. We'll see if it works.
I want to crank that. This is where your hands like go in the air and it's just
All right, this is Al Venz coming to you from Studio 2. Got my good
And then out of nowhere, all right, this is Al Venz. Whoa, what is Al Venz doing at a rave?
oh man.
friends coming to you from Studio 2. Got my good
They
friend
had to
Josh
have hired a
Rainhouse.
marketing
How's it going,
company or
Josh?
something.
Oh my gosh. And then, so I thought that was the best part. That was not the best part of the new podcast.
No. Oh man. They have kids. Like their kids should step in and
Yes.
it'd be like, well, Dad,
And-
come
no,
on.
And mind you, Al's kids are like, they're all through college or in college. Like, it's not like Al doesn't have youngsters in the house either. And Josh is, they got new podcast art too. So when my ears had fully comprehended what was going on, my eyes got to look at this beautiful graphic of these two.
I got it up.
What are they, 19-year-olds?
Oh man. I swear. So I don't know who did the graphic. They did a great job.
They did. And Al and Josh, they're good looking guys.
Yeah.
They know wrestling. They're good looking guys, but they are not 19.
They sent their high school baseball pictures to this graphics person and like, hey, we're trying to, get a little younger market. Can you help us out here? And oh boy, did they ever.
Well, at least they got the hats right. Nebraska hat and a
Yeah.
Randolph hat.
Yeah,
Josh
so-
has absolutely perfect teeth. I don't know why he's a wrestling podcaster because apparently, according to that picture, he should be a GQ model.
Yeah, this is something here.
So
then I see this. And do you remember, I don't know if you watch ESPN, they were ripping on Ryan Day.
Yes. Oh, the Ohio State's football
Yeah.
coach.
So if you don't know who Ryan Day is, he is the Ohio State football coach. You can't tell me that beard isn't just Ryan Day recreated there.
Oh my goodness.
And I got to apologize.
Are they related? Is Ryan Day
brothers.
Josh Raymond's cousin?
They got to be brothers.
That's unbelievable. What do they put, like,
You know what's funny,
tar in their beard?
That's what's funny. The big controversy is that Ryan Day supposedly uses shoe polish for his beard.
Interesting.
So I think I need to apologize. I don't think he colors his hair. I think he uses shoe polish on his beard. I mean, look at that. That is just... That's a beard. And there's no way an 18-year-old can grow a beard like that.
There is
Unless you're Sam Stoll, probably.
Yeah, true. I have no idea what's in that beard. There could be anything in that beard. There could be a pack of raccoons. There could be a pipe wrench in there. Fireworks.
Oh, man. If you're watching this or listening to this on the podcast, none of this makes sense, but check it out on YouTube.
Yeah, if you're listening back, you have to go look at the graphic on Al and Josh's new podcast. You should also listen to the podcast because it's a great podcast, but the graphic is awesome.
Yeah.
If you and I got a graphic designed by that same group, yours would probably be like a 13-year-old and mine would be like an infant child.
Yeah, it would be something. So, yeah, check it out. Check it out. So I'm sorry, it's just hilarious. I literally laughed for like probably an hour this morning.
We probably exchanged about 150 text messages between the hour of 6 a.m. and 7 a.m.
We did. It was good. But
then you and I got a chance to talk, and we could really only come up with a couple different theories. So you were pretty rude to Josh earlier this month, or maybe it was last month, when you said that you think he colors his hair. So
you think this is all a response to that midlife crisis?
That's
type?
exactly it. It could be.
Oh man,
Got a little bit sensitive. Didn't want people to think he was as old as he was. Or what if they're just trying to connect with the younger demographic?
They could be. And it got me thinking, Logan. It really did. I need to do some research for this episode.
Sure.
So I got some middle school friends. Well, middle school.
Whoa.
I have some teachers that are in the middle school.
I think we have our Heman tree service free quote of the week already. You have some friends in middle school. That is.
I have some teachers that teach middle school.
You have
there.
teachers?
That came out better.
You have friends that are teachers.
Friends that are teachers. Yes. There.
Okay.
Anywho.
Okay.
We did some reconnaissance.
How long are we going to keep that graphic on the screen?
I mean, people got a lot. That's better than us.
It is a lot better looking than us.
So no, if they want to really branch out and kind of connect with their younger audience, I got a few slang words for them.
Ooh.
And I'm going to ask you if you've ever heard of this. Any of these. So,
okay.
You know, when you're talking about studs, give me a stud wrestler.
Owen Denstead.
Owen Denstead. So Owen Denstead would be like Riz.
What? He would be Riz?
Yeah. Owen Denstead is Riz.
I don't think that's right.
Yeah, it's like being a stud.
No, I think someone has Riz. I think they.
Oh, if you have Riz, you're
a player.
You
got
stud.
game.
I don't know. They said it's like you're like a stud.
Okay.
If someone says you have Riz.
If you can be a Riz, then I have been using the word incorrectly.
You use Riz?
I try to.
Huh. Oh, that's weird. If somebody's really good at something, they're bussin', or is it skibbity?
Skybadai?
Skybadai?
Skibbity?
Skibbity? This one I didn't know.
I've heard bussin'. My younger brother said bussin'. Whenever he eats something, he goes, "Oh, this S is bussin'."
That's bussin'.
Bussin'.
Huh. Slay means good. Definitely thought that meant something else, but
something is slay.
I guess.
Slay queen?
What? Slay. That slays. That means it's really good.
Slay means it's really good. Okay. So you are slaying the competition like Santa's sleigh.
No, I think it's like that slays.
Like a dragon. Like you slay a dragon.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
AY.
I can see that one.
Cooking also means you're doing really good. I think I've heard that one. I think that one's coming back.
By the way, Alan, Josh, you guys better be writing these down. I hope you guys
This is going to
have
help
pen and
your
pencil
demographic outreach. Here.
Yeah.
So, and then beta and sus. Beta's not good and sus. Logan is pretty beta.
Is that...
That was a beta take.
No. So is it one term there? Beta
No,
and
no, no.
sus?
Beta and or sus.
They're separate terms.
Separate. Like
Okay.
you're sus. You're really sus right now.
I'm sus.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
Beta seems like a noun, though. You used it like a verb. You said
don't
someone is so
question
beta.
don't question the
I think it would be like
The middle school.
you are a beta.
no.
You call somebody a beta.
That's really beta.
No, that's not it.
Ohio.
It's
Ohio means
definitely a
not
noun.
good.
Yeah,
I don't get the Ohio. I suppose the state of Ohio just isn't good.
That should be Iowa. If we're gonna
Iowa. You can interchange
if we're
that.
gonna be calling somebody a state that's not good, it should probably be Iowa.
And then
Beta, not good.
T.
The T.
How do you use that one?
I.
It means gossip.
What's the T?
What's the T on the forum?
What's the T?
What's the T on the forum? That's good. So, yeah, we need to connect you with like a middle school educator or something so we can get more of this good information.
Well, you said that you have a friend you were texting.
I have sources, but
Do we
yeah.
need? I don't know if we need more connections. We just got like, what was that? 8
Yeah.
good
so thank
slang
you
terms.
to my middle school teaching counterparts. Not counterparts. Whatever. Good shout out.
Your middle school friends.
My middle school friends. So they hooked us up for helping out Al and Josh.
Oh, that's good.
These guys are going to be top of the charts in the young demographics after this week.
They are.
So-
Look at those young striping. My goodness. Not a gray hair on either of those heads.
You want to talk about the actual Human Tree Service free quote of the week?
Yeah, this is hilarious.
You got it.
Al Venz says he went to 5 straight wrestling events on 5 straight days. Kyle hasn't been to 5 wrestling events in the last 2 years combined.
Yeah, I was just surprised he like really puffing his chest out about that one.
That is your Human Tree Service free quote of the week. Actually, I'm going to put an asterisk next to that. We'll say that's the leader in the clubhouse. 'Cause
Leader
we
in the
got-
clubhouse?
There's a lot of wrestling talk.
How do you
coming
spell
tonight.
human?
HUEMANN
So
at the end.
did I tell you I ran into them?
You did not? When
So-
did you? Let me guess. Were you like at the public library?
Yes, I was at
or
the library. And
Somewhere sophisticated.
we were talking.
Book club?
And they said we pick on them too much.
What?
Yeah, they got real sensitive. And I'm like, this is weird. Last year, things were fine. We picked on them all the time. Now all of a sudden, they really act like Mazeppa folk.
Well, let me ask you, has something changed? Like in the last year? Why do you think they were good with it last year and now they're getting a little sensitive this year?
I mean, I did hear one of them may have courted a Mazeppian.
Oh, no. Oh,
So we got to be careful with the Human Tree Service. They get a little sensitive on us picking on them. They said we pick on them too much.
that's something to think about.
Human with a double N.
Know what you're getting into when you marry a woman from Mazeppa. By the way, Riley, I fully support your marriage. I was in the wedding, so I have to stand by that one. Did you listen all the way to the end of Al and Josh's podcast?
Yeah.
Because there was a Brandon Lundy appearance.
Oh, yes.
Well,
yes.
Brandon Lundy mentioned, not
mention.
technically an appearance. I was like, where in the heck has Brandon Lundy been? Turns out he's been at youth wrestling tournaments.
Yeah. And I text Brandon because Brandon and I apparently have a similar 3-point takedown, 4-point near fall philosophy. So,
Yeah, you both don't know wrestling.
no, we both see it clearly. So I reached out to Brandon. I said, Brandon, let's bury the hatchet and tackle this problem in the sport together. So we did. We came together and we're going to start.
I can just
We're going to
imagine.
start campaigning.
I can just imagine you and Brandon Lundy standing in front of the National Federation of High Schools, standing in front of the board, trying to give a presentation, and it is just
legit.
not coherent
It'd be
at
legit.
all.
I think legit's too old. I shouldn't use that word.
That's
It's dating me.
That's Riz,
That would be Riz.
or you guys are cooking.
For cooking.
You guys are cooking.
Good.
You and Lundy standing in front of the NFHS would be beta and sus.
That would be. Hey, quick before we move on, because I want to do a poll here. How do I bring that up here?
Beta and sus?
No, that.
Get their picture off the
Oh
screen.
yeah, my bad. Forgot about that. How do we get the so I can interact with the viewers?
Well, you got to pull up a separate. You got to just pull up the internet with YouTube.
Yeah, I got that. No, but I want to do like a poll.
Yeah, you should be able to do that. I have you signed into. You're signed into JB Takes. You should be able to do it right there.
No. All right, whatever. We'll just skip it for today. Yeah.
Not getting trolled in the chat, are we?
No, we're all right. so far.
Okay.
Because I had an idea, and I wanted to bring this to our listeners. I think we need to do an Al and Josh JV Takes Super Show before either the section tournament or the Wednesday night before the state tournament, live at an establishment.
An establishment.
Not Sugars.
You
Apparently they play the music from Sugars, but like a, family-friendly establishment.
Perkins? Do you think we could do a show from a Perkins?
I don't know where. We can work out the details, but I think that was my first idea. I think I've kind of got 3, and maybe we let the listeners vote, and we got to have to get Al and Josh on board with this.
Okay.
The other one is we do a road trip to the Section 7 finals. Holdingford
Okay.
versus Staples. That'll be fun.
Holdingford's not going to dodge him. There's been a lot of chatter on the forum that Holdingford likes to dodge
They
teams.
might.
They're not going to dodge Staples.
Can you dodge in the section finals?
You can.
I mean, I suppose you could.
You can opt up.
You could. Yeah.
7AA.
7AA. Maybe they'll do that next year.
So how would we do a road show with Al and Josh about the Section 7 final? We would bring them to Holdingford with us?
No. We're either doing one of these 3 ideas. Super show with Al and Josh live at an establishment.
Why are we only doing one of these 3 ideas? Because we only have so much bandwidth or what?
Well, you haven't heard the third idea, so you might want to pump the brakes if you want to do all 3.
Okay.
The third idea is like JV Takes Bachelor with Logan. So we have some ladies out there that want to go on a date with Logan or just want to be a part of the bit. You guys got to go on a date, and then the lady calls in, and you guys both recap the date live to the audience.
Do I get to screen them in advance?
I am in charge of lining up the date, making like all the arrangements. You just show up, blind date, go for it.
Can we tell these ladies in advance that I look like that picture of Al and Josh?
We'll get one of those made for you. You'll be golden.
Tell them I look like the guy on the left.
So I rank them: date with Logan, Super Show, road trip to the 7A finals.
So the date is just a date. That's it.
Yeah, and then we recap it live.
Oh, we recap it live.
Yeah. Yep.
So we're gonna sit down. Okay. We're not going to be able to pull that off unless it's relevant to wrestling. So what we would have to do is it'd have to be a wrestling-centric date. We'd have to go to a Gophers
Maybe
match.
you do a road trip to Section 7A finals.
How would that...
Like 9 hours together.
Imagine. So Hazel gets old enough to where she's finally curious about how you and Mom got married, and she goes, Dad, what was your first date like? You're like, well, we went on a 4-hour road trip to watch 2 high school wrestling teams wrestle for an hour, and then we came back home.
Yeah. It'd be a good date.
I would enjoy it. I don't
What's your
I don't know
leader
if we
in the
would.
clubhouse on this idea?
I don't think we would get many entries to go on a date with me to the Section 7 finals, but you never know, right? You cast the net, you see what you can get. I would say my first choice is probably the Super Show, because Al and Josh are, they're Al and Josh, wrestling legends. And then the date second and the road trip to Section 7 finals third, because I cannot afford to get stabbed before Civic Center Saturday. And if we go into Section 7 territories, one of us is probably not making it
And
out.
honestly, if we get there and one of the teams dodges the other one, it'll be pretty boring.
True.
So,
yeah, if they're ducking and dodging.
Yeah. So, all right.
I like those.
Should we talk like results?
You mean talk wrestling on a wrestling
well, we
podcast?
did, kind of. I mean, so.
Well, we beat around the bush a little bit. Yeah, we had all sorts of results. My goodness. What a weekend. Was I texting you was that Sunday morning that I was just losing my mind over some of the results on Saturday?
We were looking at results, and, well, there was one thing that stood out to me before we dive into it. There was a lot of forfeits this weekend.
Oh, my gosh, so many.
A lot of illness, a lot of injuries, just that time of year. So, yeah, it kind of made for some odd results.
Yeah. And yeah, that's a good kind of thing to lead with as we get into all this, because I mean, results are results at the end of the day, but there's a lot going into these things, and injuries and illness you mentioned. I came over here and you had 2 kids that are just like spraying germs everywhere. There's snot on this. Oh my gosh.
That's just normal.
Yeah.
And actually, there's snot right there. Look.
Yeah. I saw that. I knew there was going to be snot there.
She was all up on that one. I'm like, yep.
Yeah,
So,
she was. So that was what Saturday, all those weird results were coming in. There were some really big ones too on Thursday and Friday, but it was just like 9 days ago that I was pounding my chest talking about these power rankings and how great my power rankings are.
You blew that.
I absolutely butchered it because Caledonia comes into the Swallows and they knock off Owatonna 32-26. And Owatonna has been one of the best teams in, southeastern Minnesota. I'd say probably a top 5 or 6 team. Caledonia obviously had this slow start to the season, but they've been regaining their footing, and it seems like they're kind of hitting their stride. So they knock off Owatonna at the Swallows, a shorthanded Owatonna. And then Grand Meadow Leroy Ostrander Southland beats PEM up in, was it like St. Paul Highland or Park or something? It was
where was that? It was
they call them the Governor Duels.
Chaska Chanhassen, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's what it was.
And PEM barely hangs on to knock off Cannon Falls 37-36. So it's just like so many wonky results. And then Goodhue beat LARP on Friday night. Albert Lee beat Northfield. Those ones weren't huge shockers, but still relevant in my power rankings. So, Kyle, do you want to rip me? I guess I'll give you the floor if you want to make fun of me for not being able to rank teams anymore.
I was actually going to look up. There was somebody in that Chaska Chan. Oh, yeah, Chaska Chan beat Apple Valley. Not that that has any relevance for our section, but
that's a good win for them.
That surprised me a little bit. Yeah. When you mentioned that, I'm like, oh, yeah. And then GMLOS finished third, right behind, or right in front of Plainview. And then Cannon Falls, Logan. Cannon Falls is starting to.
You are on Cannon Falls.
I am. They're starting to put some things together. So we'll see. We'll see how Cannon Falls shakes out at the end of the year. What was your question? Oh, power rankings. Yeah, you blew that.
Yeah, I butchered it.
You were chirping pretty hard last week, literally going off about how your power rankings are perfect. And then boom, boom, boom. Was it 3 or 4 teams all lost? 5?
Oh, it was a bunch of them. And the bottom line here is the wrestling gods giveth, the wrestling gods taketh away. Stay humble, okay? If you have a big win, you pull off a big W, don't go bragging about it. That is not a slay. Did I get that? Was that right?
I don't know. These slang, this is tough.
Bragging is not a slay. Bragging is for betas. Okay, so don't be somebody who brags like me. Do you think
you need?
So I've fixed them. I have fixed my power rankings. I am fully prepared to reveal them. Would you like me to do a live reveal?
And you almost, I think you kind of accidentally revealed them in our pre-game picture.
I did accidentally tweet a picture.
So yeah, you might as well.
Okay.
Let the people.
So I'm going to let you try and, have you looked at my rankings? I don't think you have access to them.
No, I just saw part of that.
Okay. So I'll start right here at the top.
Do you want me to guess?
I'm going to read the first sentence and you have to guess, okay? I have little to say about this team. They're the best team in southeastern Minnesota.
Chatfield.
Okay, Chatfield is my number 1 team. Number 2, thus far, the story of the 2024-25 season has been very similar to last season for this team.
Zimbrota
Mazeppa. And do you agree with that a little bit? Because, I mean, early in the season, actually it was...
Say it again.
This season has been eerily similar to last year for this team.
Yeah, maybe on the mat, but perception-wise, I think there was a lot of unknowns when they started the season.
I agree. That's the one difference would be like the starting point. But this year, last year, the shocking wins came down at the Clash. This year, the shocking wins were Becker and KM early. So like there were still those big surprise duels, but I agree that the starting point was different.
Yep.
You
got Chatfield ZM2.
I'm excited to read this line from my number 3 ranked team. I finally had the guts to make a really big move. I can't wait to hear Kyle tell me why I am wrong and why everyone from Cass and Manorville should hate me.
Oh, you did KM dirty, huh? Well, okay, this makes sense. You are so bought off. Can I go on this rant? So I'm assuming it's Albert Lee.
Don't let any cats out of the bag too far. You can let a Thursday cat out of the bag, but not a Friday cat out of the bag.
No, you're bought off. The people will figure it out.
Okay, that's a good.
So you got Albert Lee.
Albert Lee is number 3.
Wow.
And I didn't just do that because it rhymes. I did it because they are at full strength, and I love what Albert Lee's doing right now.
Okay, we talked about power rankings, and we had that discussion earlier in the week. You and I off mic. I'm okay with Albert Lee, number 3.
Mm-hmm.
They have all of a sudden, it just seems like, put the team together. I mean, they have hit their stride, hopefully not too early, but looks like some kids are getting to weight, and they are putting the screws to some teams. So
you agree with me?
I'm okay with it in the context of how they're performing today. because we had this discussion about our rankings, a prediction of how teams will finish. Are they how you're performing today, or is it a combination of teams that you beat versus where you will finish?
Yeah, there's different angles when you're doing rankings.
Yeah.
There's the short-term snapshot. There's just strictly results-based power rankings. And then there's whatever Roger does.
Yeah. Good segue into Kenyon. Like, how was Kenyon ranked so low?
So my number 4 team, you can guess my number 4 team.
Castle Manorville.
Of course. Number 5, this team is going to have their hands full chasing down Albert Lee.
Northfield.
Yep. Any arguments there? I think those are pretty fair.
No, I like that. You know where Northfield's going to be and potentially match up this weekend with? Who they could potentially match up with?
Remind me where they're going. Armstrong? Moundsview?
Moundsview. We could see Northfield and Moundsview. I don't know if it'll happen. I haven't seen brackets or anything, but that would be a pretty fun duel.
It would be nice to see a team not dodge Moundsview.
If Northfield gets a chance, though, I'm sure they'll wrestle it.
Yeah. Big boss man, I hope you're on the forum working double time to fix this, because there's accusations out there and you need to be on top of this. We will not stand for it.
All right. So you had Northfield 5?
Northfield number 5. My number 6 team. This team managed to jump Owatonna despite losing a tight duel to them in Zimbrota earlier this month.
Kenyon Wanamingo.
Kenyon Wanamingo, my number 7 team.
So you put Kenyon over Owatonna, and Owatonna beat Kenyon.
Correct.
This kind of goes to the theory of who's where now, right?
What?
Who
Yes.
is where
Yep,
they're at
it's
now.
leaning in that direction.
So power rank, my opinion, power rankings are snapshot in time.
You are
Today.
agreeing with me. You are in.
Yeah, I'm
You love
okay
what-
with that.
say it.
Well,
You love what I'm
KW has
doing.
been disrespected all year.
Go ahead, say it. You love what I'm doing. You appreciate my wrestling
Now
knowledge.
you're getting better because you finally have seen all the
You didn't say I was
results.
You didn't say I was good.
No,
but
no,
you
no,
did
you're
say
getting
I was
better.
getting better.
Slightly.
I'm going to take it. That is a slay. I don't know what word.
We might have to punt on that.
Yeah. Owatonna, my number 7 team. Kyle, I'll let you guess number 8. This team has got some moving.
You got Owatonna as 7.
Owatonna 7. Yep. This team got some help moving up to the number 8 spot, but now the ball is 100% in their hands with upcoming matches against PEM, KM, and ZM. A lot of M's in there.
That's got to be Pine Island.
That is the Panthers. Didn't wear my shirt. Number 9.
And just to elaborate on that, I mean, Pine Island is. We're gonna know who Pine Island is in a week and a half.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, they read all those teams that they wrestle here again.
ZM, KM, PEM.
Yeah. So they have KM and PEM this week on Friday, and then next week ZM. So,
All right, Kyle. Rounding out my top 10. I'm not going to give you any hints on these two because my write-ups would give it away. Who do you think my number 9 and number 10 teams are? We've not said PEM. We've not said Rochester Mayo. We've not said Goodhue, Dover Yoda, or Lewiston Alture Rushford Peterson. I guess I'm even going to throw Rochester Century in there. Heck, we haven't said Rochester Century. We haven't said Cannon Falls.
I think Cannon Falls should be cracking the. What do you go, 10 or 11 this time? 12?
10.
Why'd you go 11 last time?
Because there was a team that I really wanted to get in there, but I was making them earn it. I was hanging a carrot in front of their faces, and they just didn't bite the carrot.
So we're at 9.
We're at 9, yes.
I'm gonna go Rochester Mayo.
Incorrect.
Who we got at 9?
Make Goodhue great again. Make the
You're such a
Wildcats
homer.
great again. Here's the thing. I was thinking about this. We've now done about, 40 episodes? 40 episodes or so? How many times have I been accused of being a Goodhue homer?
Al and Josh pretty much do it every episode.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I must have missed that. I don't think I've been accused of being a Goodhue homer once, which means I'm not doing my job. So that is why I wore this right here, this 1988 Region 1A Wrestling Champions shirt from the Goodhue Wildcat team that went to state in 1988.
Nice.
You can see the Goodhue has worn off on the top right here. I was told that when these shirts were given out, they didn't have this print or this print. They didn't have Goodhue or Champions on them, and then Coach Sutter made sure that they printed Goodhue and Champions on them.
Nice.
So we are making Goodhue great again after that big win over Lewiston, Altura, Rushford, Peterson. And in my number 10 spot, Kyle?
Lewiston, Altura, Rushford, Peterson.
No, it is not.
Who is it?
It is the Bulldogs of Plainview, Elgin, Millville. So that is my top 10.
A little
right
hard
there.
on LARP.
What? You got to win matches.
No, come on.
They lost to Goodhue. They got blown out by Albert Lee. They're a
Who
little
was
bit banged
Penn
up.
beat in the last week? Other than did
Mayo.
they just lose?
Mayo. Caledonia.
All right, let me
Cannon
pull this
Falls.
up here.
Do you want me to go on?
In the last week?
Yes.
No.
Correct.
All right, whatever.
Yeah.
That'll be good. LARP will prove you wrong here this week, and I can laugh at you again.
Kyle, let's play a different game here because we had a lot of important Section 1 AA type of duels. And I want you to let me know, is there a path? It's really simple. You just tell me, is there a path? Okay. So significant results for the past week.
Is our Section 7 guy on here? He got really mad when I said there was a path.
Hopefully he's not. Goodhue beat LARP 41-29. Wildcats looked awesome.
Can I just hit the pause button? I see Al and Josh Show is chirping us. You know, they're more than welcome to call in and defend themselves.
This would be fantastic. Josh, you've got my phone number.
So it's okay to be a homer, he said.
All right.
Good.
Well, if
So-
they gave us permission,
There you
then I think we should do it. I think we should be a homer.
So, well, sorry, what was the question?
Goodhue over LARP 41-29 on Friday. Wildcats came out flying. They looked just great top to bottom. Arlen von Knobelsdorf, huge pin at 107. Lucas Erickson looked great at 27. Hayden Holm, big pin at 39. Wildcats were on fire. Bench was loud. Is there a path for Lewiston, Altura, Rushford, Peterson
A path where?
to close that 12-point gap?
Oh, gosh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, good. That's all we need.
Well, I mean, come on. You got to give context. I think they weren't feeling the best.
Oh, you.
Well, Kyle, you can't
You're
just
one of
say, is
those
there a
guys.
path? Yes, of
You're
course.
one of those guys.
They had a guy out. I mean, come on.
I will, side note, I'll say this.
Absolutely, there's a path.
Really impressed with some of the youngsters that Lewiston, Altura, Rushford, Peterson have.
That lineup is like young.
They've got a 7th grader around 133, 139. They have an 8th grader around 152, 160 that can really wrestle. It's
It
like,
feels like the rest are sophomores with a couple seniors sprinkled in. I mean,
yeah.
no.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
LARP's going to be a team here, fun team to watch here in the rest of this year and coming years.
And one of their issues is like they don't have many options down at 107 or 114, but how many kids did they have in the JV that were under 100 pounds?
A lot.
Like those scrappers are going to grow. They'll be able to plug those guys into the lineup.
Yeah, they'll be all right.
So there is a path.
There's always a path.
Okay. Another big result on Friday. This was I was pretty pumped for this one. Albert Lee and Northfield had a quad going on. Rematch of last year's section finals. Albert Lee gets a 38-26 win. We mentioned it. Albert Lee's at full strength. As far as I'm aware, seems like Northfield's right there with them. Kyle, is there a path?
There definitely is.
There's
I
a
wish you'd
path.
have given me a little heads up on this one. I wanted to talk about this.
Well, I was just doing a bit. I'm just expecting you to say yes for
know.
every single one.
Well, I know, but
But you want to get results and you want to actually see if there's an actual path?
no, because I was looking at this one earlier. Because who else did they wrestle that week? Yeah, Albert Lee Northfield, 38-26. Got to give a little context, right? So there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There was 7 6-point, so fall or forfeits in this duel. You clean up some of that. Either way, you can stretch that margin or you're going to close that gap. So absolutely, there's a path.
What I'll say, though, is there were a couple of close decisions that looked like they went Northfield's way. So they're going to have to make sure they grab those in the middle once again. But it doesn't
Yeah.
They're going to have to get those again and minimize bonus points.
You're just such an Albert Lee guy. It's almost gross.
You know what's funny is if we could flash back to exactly 1 year ago, exactly 365 days ago,
like literally
we would
6 days ago.
We would be sitting at this table and you would say, you haven't even seen Albert Lee wrestle.
You haven't.
You don't know they exist.
You still haven't.
Okay.
And you
Okay.
haven't actually became a fan
Okay.
until 6 days ago, 3 days ago, probably.
So I haven't seen Albert Lee wrestle yet this year. Guess what? You haven't seen any team in the section wrestle this year.
But I'm not. I can't say that word. Yeah, I'm not touting them like you do.
Not banging your chest saying how great you are at power rankings.
Correct.
Okay, fair enough.
I almost got us canceled.
Don't do that. Stick to the word that the middle school teacher texted you. All right. Pine Island and Cannon Falls wrestled. That one's big for, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Actually, I guess technically Pine Island could still get a 1 seed, but they beat Cannon Falls 45-22, Kyle. Is there a path? You love Cannon Falls.
I do love Cannon Falls. Yes. 45-22. Oof. Yeah. There's a path. It's a go path, but there's a path.
There's a path.
Yeah.
I saw there's a very important big man who is back in the lineup for Cannon Falls. And, man, those guys are so important to a team, aren't there?
Oh, goodness. Yeah.
Especially when, you need a little help around him, but that monster at 189 or 215, you can move around, play matchups, and it just makes life so much easier on a coach, on the other wrestlers in that area, and having that big man just gives you a shot. So having Ziegler back in the lineup is huge for Cannon Falls if he's going to be back.
And honestly, I just hope every team is healthy going into the section tournament, because this is going to be double A, especially, is going to be wild.
Oh yeah,
if everybody can come in healthy. So
well, you and I were talking about a 4 or 5 seed or a 5 seed making the Civic Center, and then we were like, forget a 5 seed. There very well could be a 6 seed that makes it in double A. I don't know if I'm going to go as far as to say 7. I'd have to see the matchups first, but if a team like Caledonia that got off to a slow start and gets stuck with a 7 seed because of a slow start, like I think they've lost to Lake City, that's a 7 seed that could scare people.
Yeah, we kind of argued about that, and it'll get a little bit clearer this week with some more matches, but where does Caledonia get seated? I mean, yeah, it's just messy.
It's going to be messy, and it was messy last year. That's just what happens in one double A. When you have 12 teams, there's just so much more depth, and it's going to get messy.
Mm-hmm. So,
Kyle, is there a path for Caledonia to beat PEM? Because Plainview Elgin Millville got a 39-26 victory last week. And PM was a little bit banged up. They didn't have everybody back, but I don't know if they're going to have everybody back. You think there's a path for Caledonia?
You give me Caledonia in the postseason all day.
Good point.
They'll have a shot.
I was thinking about that today. Does that matter to you? Does postseason experience matter to you?
Absolutely. Sometimes you can't quantify it. Whether it's even just postseason experience or programs that walk into the Civic Center like they've been there before, that 100% matters. So when you're new to it, sometimes the lights get a little bright, and pretty soon you're getting put to your back and not really sure what's going on.
I agree. I think there's just a certain level of comfort level with it. You're used to walking in there. You're used to being on the stage. You got to be ready to go. And I think Caledonia definitely has that going for them, and they're healthy. I think looked like they had that Ginther back in the lineup, middle of their lineup. Tanner Ginther's back. That'll be big for them, so watch out for the Warriors.
Is health, like we keep kind of going back to that, it just seems like the number one thing to make a team ready for the end of the year. Is it fair to say?
I agree. I think it's health. And do you think this year has been worse than usual, or are we just paying more attention to it this year? Because like the thing with Owatonna this weekend and PEM and KM caught us off guard at the beginning of the year. It seems like it's worse than years past, but I don't know if it actually is.
Yeah, we talked about it. I kind of think I rattled off like 5 names really quick that had season-ending injuries last year or the year before. So
yeah,
I think we forget, because at the end of the year we get so excited in the results and all the winning and teams going to state that you kind of forget the kids that honestly just didn't participate, or the teams that weren't there because of those things. So
true.
I think it happens every year. It just seemed like this weekend especially, man,
Forfeits.
There's just a lot of illnesses going around. So
here's a fun trivia question. Plug for Culver's, who sponsors our trivia. When was the last time KM forfeited a weight? Because they forfeited a weight this weekend. I haven't seen KM forfeit a weight since the day I was born in 1996.
Was that a plug for the ladies out there to know how old you are?
Well, that's why I winked at the camera.
Okay.
Were you wondering about that wink? All right. So those are kind of the relevant section matches that went on. Triton and Grand Meadow are actually wrestling right now as we speak. That one's relevant in Section 1A, but I want to touch on a couple other teams as well here, Kyle. Teams that are just flying under the radar. We already talked about Caledonia. We gave them their love, but Rochester Century, and we're going to talk about them in a second with the Rochester City Duels, but they continue to win. They're one of the teams that has a deeper lineup, and I've said it before, I'll say it again. I think they have a very real shot at finding a 4 seed in Section 1 AAA, which would be fantastic for that program. And then Dover Yoda, they kind of fly under the radar. Like, they're just checking these boxes. They're beating the teams that they should. And I've been having conversations with people like, oh, is Goodhue the 3 seed? Is Lewis Nelsher Rushford Peterson the 3 seed? And Dover Yoda has been forgotten a little bit. And quietly, they've beaten these other teams in the Three Rivers that they needed to. They've beaten the St. Charles, the Grand Meadows of the world. And now they're setting themselves up where they have duels left still with LARP and Goodhue, and they could sneakily grab a 3 seed again this year.
And you want to talk about one of those teams that just puts it together at the end of the year.
Another one. Yep.
Dover Yoda.
Yep.
I mean, how many times have they come into the section tournament and just, whether they win or lost, they wrestle hard and it is close. So, yeah, I don't know. Wrestling Dover at the end of the year is not a picnic.
You ever been partied on at the Civic Center by Dover?
What year is that? 2022?
2022.
One of the, how would I put this? I don't want to say a good memory.
Very happy for them.
Happy for Dover Yoda.
Very happy for
I
them.
remember, this was crazy. So you know that balcony? I don't know how you explain
Yeah,
it.
where
Kind of north.
St. Charles hangs the singlets up
Yeah,
there with the
yes,
names
yeah,
all the time.
yeah.
Yep.
So
that
you've got the balcony there, and it is loaded with Dover Yoda fans. And I can't remember if Goodhue was the 2C. It was like a Goodhue had beat Dover Yoda earlier in the year. Dover was down.
They had beat him
few.
at a quad in January or something.
And I don't know who just got pinned. Somebody got pinned. Come off the mat. I'm walking. I look up, and they are just having a blast. And I'm like, good for them. Like, have at it. So it was pretty sweet. It was like one of those good memories where you're on the wrong side of it, but you gotta just appreciate the fun that they were having. So,
Well, especially because they
and then they went to state.
They went to state. Yep. They beat the number 1 seed. It was either Chatfield or Caledonia. But, like, for a program that had been working on that for so long, and they'd always had kids at state. They always had kids winning state titles. And then as a team, they were finally able to break through in 2022. And it was fun to see. Last year, they ran into a little bit of the injury bug. And also, Kenny Wanamingo was the second best team at state. So, like, last year at the Civic Center, they did get whomped pretty bad by Kenny Wanamingo, but there were other things involved, and also Kenny Wanamingo was the second best team in state. So,
Dover Yoda, fun program. I really like that program. They wrestle hard. Again, I think I just like teams that wrestle hard.
you do.
And Dover is one of them. So, all right. What else you got for me?
So those are my teams that are flying under the radar. I don't want to get too far into the weeds with anything else. Why don't we scrap this next bit? We could save that one.
No.
You want to do that one?
No. So we
Still have girls team state we have to talk
That's fine.
about. We still have trivia.
We got time.
We have upcoming schedule.
So here are my 3 teams. I was
Hold
sitting-
on. Explain the bit.
Yeah, I was sitting here thinking today or yesterday. I don't know. We talk too much some days, and I'm like, Logan, you completely neglect some teams out there. And I was just curious if you even know if they exist. So I'm like, I'm just going to throw out a couple names. This might become a bit because there's more than 3. You definitely disregard a lot. But I'm going to start with Owatonna. You really only bring up Owatonna when they lose. And why is that? And tell me a little bit about Owatonna, because apparently you just ignore them.
You want me to be honest? They've lost a lot of duels this year. They've wrestled a really tough schedule. They had like 5 losses in the first 2 or 3 weeks of the season. And, you don't see them doing like Christmas tournament, bi-state, those really tough individual ones. They get some good individual competition, but they have a very tough dual team schedule. So they take some losses early. They took some losses this weekend with injuries and stuff, but they beat Kenny Wanamingo earlier in the year. That was a really nice win.
They did.
And if they can get healthy again, I think they might have a very real shot tomorrow night in Albert Lee.
Nice. All right. There's your Otana takeaway.
Whew, wow, that was I'm sweating. I hope the camera can see this.
My next one here. Fillmore Central, Lanesboro, Mabel Canton. Tell me a little bit about Fillmore Central, Lanesboro, Mabel Canton.
Okay. Their lineup is pretty full. I want to say 10 or 11 wrestlers in the lineup. They're strongest at 72 and 89. Of course, they've got Kane Larson, who just got his 150th career win, 75th pin maybe or just 150 wins. And then also, they're pretty darn good at 89 with one of the Sasses. I don't remember which one. Is it?
I'm going to say Cole, but I don't know if that's right.
Yeah, I think, was it Orion Sass was the older brother and Cole
year,
now?
yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of exposing myself a little bit. But Fillmore Central is going to they're going to fit in at the back end of Section 1A right now. It's just where they are in their team growth curve. Like, they beat Wabasha Kellogg, but they fell Detroitan, and I think they also lost to Grand Meadow, so they're looking at like a 9 seed, but could winnable opening round match if it's a 9-8 seed matchup. And another note on Fillmore Central, great girls program, doing an awesome job getting numbers with girls, so they're doing some good things in Fillmore Central, Lanesboro, Mabel Canton.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned they got 2 guys that are going to be knocking on the door to get into the state tournament. They're at 71, 72, and 89.
Did we actually explain this bit? Oh, you did.
Yeah.
You did. Did you name it, though?
Do you act? No.
I wanted to name it Lost on Logan. You know, like when someone says, oh, that's not Lost on me. No, it is. It's Lost on Logan.
Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of the name. That's why I didn't bring it up, but it is what it is. Cole Sass. That's what we got. Cole Sass.
Yep.
25 and 9 on the year, so having a nice year. All right, and my final team.
Cole Sass better be careful. You get your hand raised that much, you're going to get a lap pull eventually.
Leave the jokes to Al. So, why'd you just stare down the camera?
I was trying to make people laugh. Next joke.
Oh, boy.
Next team.
That was cringe. Is that a thing?
Cringe is a thing.
So, yeah, the last team, and this team, honestly, I don't know why this just dawned on me, but
Are you going to say Austin?
No, they're not only lost on you, they're kind of lost on the whole state.
I know what you're going to say.
Who?
Way out west.
No.
Not
they're west of here.
Not Wasika?
No.
You're not going to say Wasika?
Kenyon Wanamingo.
Ooh, the Knights.
You know, we have talked about them a little bit, but they've had some really good wins. They've had a few losses here and there, but some pretty solid teams. Logan, your thoughts? Why don't you talk about KW?
Did you hear about the big news last night?
No.
The groundbreaking news?
Oh, no. I did. But.
Give it a Google, people. Give it a Google. Yeah, I think...
Okay, don't leave that. It's not that bad. They're just closing the Wanamingo Elementary School. You make it sound like bad.
Yeah, I mean, that school is...
No, you made it sound like real bad.
That's the heart of the community.
So, continue. Kenny Wanamingo, why don't you talk about them?
I'm going to answer your question with a question. Do you think that some of these teams in Section 1A get forgotten and discredited because Chatfield's in the section? Because that's my theory. I think everybody goes, well, Chatfield's going to come out of Section 1A. Chatfield's going to be in the state finals. So why bother talking about the Kenyon Wanamingos? Why bother talking about the Good U's and Lewiston Ultra, Rushford Petersons? And I think at a state level, that kind of makes sense. But, as far as it goes in southeastern Minnesota, I think they deserve plenty of conversation because they have been the second best team in Class A in southeastern Minnesota this year. And, in the beginning of the year, we were talking about can the back half of their lineup develop and match what they've got at the front end? And I think they've answered that call. They've got those bodies. Those guys have developed. When I was in Zumbrota a couple weeks ago, we saw them pick up some really big wins in the middleweights against ZM, and they almost beat ZM. They just lost by a point. But no, I think KW deserves a lot of conversation.
So where is KW in your power rankings?
6.
And where is ZM?
2.
and KW lost by 1 point and they dropped to 6. You kind of did the exact same thing that happens in all of these rankings.
So since
Like, honestly, I'm not even trying to like really go after this, but unconsciously, I think you did the same thing.
explain.
Like, they have a really tight loss to ZM. They beat some other teams, and boom, they just drop way down.
KW?
Yeah.
They moved up.
No, but they're at 6.
Yeah, they went from 7 to 6.
And they're a 1 point difference. Why aren't you putting them in the same caliber as like a Cass and Vanderbilt?
Well, Northfield's winning. You can't move them ahead of Northfield. Northfield's winning. Northfield's beating good teams. You can't move them ahead of Cass and Vanderbilt. Cass and Vanderbilt's winning, beating good teams.
They're also losing, just like
It's
KW did.
matchup based. A win's a win in my book. I'm not going to sit here and go, oh, it was only a 1 point win. It was a win.
But other teams are also losing.
Yes. The most important thing is winning. Secondary to that is how much
So
you
they
win by.
they beat Canby. They beat Lake Crystal.
Yeah, those are good wins.
So your logic is flawed.
No, it's not.
I don't get. Everybody disrespects Kenyon, and you're doing the same thing.
You are such a Kenny Monomingo guy.
I don't get it.
Why do you hate the rest of Section 1 Class
I
A?
just want to know
What do you
why.
have against
I
Chatfield?
want to know why everybody has KW. I mean, okay, let's look at this. They beat Lake Crystal. Lake Crystal's ranked 7.
Are you talking? I know why you're doing this. You're mad because they're not ranked high in the state. You're not mad about my power rankings. You're mad that Roger, say it, Roger.
I'm also mad at your
has
power rankings, apparently. It didn't
Say
dawn
it.
on me until just now.
Just say it. You're mad that Roger has discredited Kenny Monomingo
Well, and that you have as well.
and the Guillotine Forum users. All right, who do you want me to move them in front of? You want me to move them in front of Northfield?
KM.
Really? You
Yeah.
want them in front of KM?
Why not?
I can't believe you just said that. You guys saw it. He said that. The KM audience is going to be so upset with you.
I just don't know why you
I don't see your ground for moving them in front of KM.
why not? They got good wins. What ranked wins does KM have?
That's a good question. I'd have to look into it a little
Yeah,
bit
weird.
more.
All of a sudden backpedaling. I wonder if this thing's got like a beep sign.
They
on
lost to they lost to Shakopee. They beat Owatonna by way more than KW.
Oh, now
did,
you're
if you
going
want to play
margin
the
of
common
victory?
matchup game.
it. I tell you what. All right. That's where I'm just gonna rest on KW. I don't know why everyone disrespects KW.
Honestly, it's good to see you stand for something for once. Normally so spineless. It's good to see you stand for something.
All right, let's just agree that you're wrong, and we'll move on to the girls' team state.
Girls team state. That's right. Yes.
Is this where Alex calls in and gives his recap?
Hopefully. If you're listening, Alex, you're welcome to. We're 50 minutes into the show, but it would still be great if you want to call. So 3 local teams up there. We had Pine Island, Chatfield, and Byron.
Hey, I got to give a shout out, though. Sorry, can I just rewind quick?
Yeah. No, this is your show. It's cool.
MN Wrestle has KW 5 in front of Lake Crystal and Canby. Makes sense, right? They beat them. They should be in front of them. So, hey, shout out MN Wrestle. Follow them on Instagram. Or their Rockfin thing.
You interrupted me for that.
Yeah. There's a few people out there that respect him.
That was so sus of you. Pine Island, Chatfield, and Byron were up there. I want to give my Lodemeier's hard-earned performance to both Pine Island and Chatfield. Because get this. Those girls wrestled late Friday night as well. There was the individual tournament at Century that got done, I don't know when. When do you think, if you had to guess, a Friday night individual tournament gets done at 9? You're in Rochester at 9 p.m. You have a bus ride to STMA to get there. When you get there? 11? Before midnight? You get to bed, you wake up, and you wrestle the first ever girls state dual team tournament. Same thing with...
Why wouldn't they just go in the morning?
Then you have to wake up at... Maybe they did go in the morning. Either way, quick turnaround is my point.
Correct.
You're getting good competition. It's a quick turnaround. You got to be ready to go. Same thing with Pine Island. They were competing at Simley the night before, and there was some awesome competition at Simley. So I think there was a gutty effort. And a lot of the people I talked to said, like, it was a war of attrition on Saturday. There were girls getting dinged up. It's a long day with good competition. So there it is. There is your Lodemeier's hard-earned performance of the week. Also, I would say you could give the hard-earned performance to all of the people behind the scenes that made that possible, because those things, you know this, being in administrative role. Those things don't just come together. It takes years of people advocating for that, pushing buttons behind the scene, ruffling feathers, and I think a lot of people there deserve credit. So Pine Island got 8th. They won their opening match and then dropped their next 3, ended up getting 8th, but placed in the top half. Chatfield 13th and Byron 14th. Did you hear Alan Josh shout out Alex Vandenhouten?
Yeah.
That's not,
He's
no.
like a statewide guy now.
But he's not theirs. He's in Section 1. They're Section 2 and 4 guys. What are you looking at?
Somebody just text us.
Okay. I'm intrigued. I'm not going to look at it because I'm easily distractible.
Sorry. The Wisconsin Wrestler podcast just took a nice shot, I think, at Al Venz, which is warranted because those guys kind of started it. No, it's on Twitter.
Can you answer this?
You want to read that out loud?
Comment live on your show, please. Who do we think has more wrestling? So here's the context. Kyle's young man, your toddler, Lenny's what, 6 months?
9 months tomorrow.
9 months tomorrow. Sorry, Lenny, I didn't mean to discredit you like that. Lenny is 9 months tomorrow. The picture is our podcast set up with Lenny in the background, and the Wisconsin Wrestler podcast says, who do we think has more wrestling knowledge? That child or Al Venz?
That's a shot. But Al did start this.
It's
last year, I think.
Yeah, it's so funny. I don't know why this is funny to me, but he refers to Lenny as that child. It's just like...
That's a good one.
Great question, Teague. I guess, yeah, we better attribute that one to Teague because I don't want Steve getting in trouble.
No.
Steve is way too good of a guy to be thrown under the bus for that one.
Oh, that was good. So
are you going to answer it?
Yes, Alex Vandenhouten. You claim ours. I think he's just a wrestling guy now. He is fully converted. It's been what, year and a half?
It's been way long. It's been longer than that. It's been multiple years. 2, 3, 4 years maybe.
Oh, really?
He's in the cult, dude.
Nice. So
yeah,
Alex does a great job. Had a nice write up. I think the Post. Okay, here's a little plug. We're not sponsored by the Post Bulletin, but
we would like to be if they want to.
It took me I'm kind of frugal. It took me a long time to get that subscription. That is definitely worth it. With honestly just Alex's stuff in general, and then you get all the other stuff. But yeah, they do a great job. So nice job, Alex.
I agree with all of that wholeheartedly. And he must not be watching because I think he would have called if he was. Anyways, I was going to go into the Rochester area sports banquet as long as we're wrapped up on the girls' state team tournament.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how that grows or how they tweak it. It'd be fun to get some feedback. We'll maybe have to do that after the season. Just kind of hear how it went and what can change and improve going forward.
Yeah, and basically, so what I had talked to Jason Elsmore about on Saturday night is this is kind of the path that the girls' individual state tournament started with. It was sanctioned by the Minnesota Wrestling Coaches Association. Min USA Wrestling also did a tournament, and then that kind of laid the path for the state high school league to just kind of adopt it and bring it into the XL Energy Center and mesh it with the boys' state tournament. So other people kind of doing the heavy lifting. And then, once there's a blueprint and it shows that this is something that's going to work, there's good numbers there, then they bring it in and make it part of the boys' state tournament. So if I was to place, God, this is so speculative. I'm a scumball. I'm going to do it. If I was to place the over-under at 2.5 years, would you say we have a girls' state dual tournament sanctioned by the State High School League over or under 2.5 years?
So 26 being the first, 27, 28 being the third. Not counting this year.
I'll frame it this way. Do you think it will happen in 2026 or sooner?
Next year? No, it'll be.
I don't think it's going to be next year.
No, that.
Maybe it will be
27, maybe 28, probably. I mean, 27, 28.
If I was a betting man, which I am, and that's the reason I lost so much money last week, I would say 2026, and that's going off of nothing but feel, basically.
That's next year.
Holy crap, that's next year. I mean, 2027.
Yeah.
2027 is my guess.
Right. Yep.
But I wouldn't be shocked if they did it in 2026 because they had 16 teams.
And this is all speculative. We have no idea what we're talking about.
I
right
prefaced
now.
that. I
Yeah.
prefaced that. That's
gotta
why.
reiterate
Remember,
that.
I called myself a scumbag.
Yeah.
I said this is a scumbag move, but I'm going to do it anyways. Yeah, because they had 16 teams. State tournament for the boys is 8 teams. They had pretty full lineups. There were a handful of forfeits. I think it's going to be coming within the next few years. Rochester Area Sports Banquet, finally. Have you ever attended this event, Kyle?
I have. Yeah, it's a really, really fun event. I told you need to go if you can get a ticket. Anybody that's got an extra ticket, let Logan know he wants to go. He just won't ask. I'll ask for you.
This could be the date thing you're trying to do.
Yeah, that'd be an interesting first date. No, you want to go as just to take it all in. It's a good time. They always have a good speaker. It's kind of fun to see all the accomplishments. Just, we're going to talk about the wrestling people, but even outside of wrestling, like you forget how impressive Southeast Minnesota is across all sports. So awesome event. I think it's John Randall this year, right?
It is
speaker.
You are correct. It
So-
is John Randall.
Yeah, I mean, they always bring in a great speaker, and highly, highly recommended if you can get into that. So
Oh, Ellsmore Plumbing has a ticket for me. There we go.
there you go. That was
we're going.
quick.
And a perfect transition. Thank you for that, Ellsmore Plumbing, because one of our nominees from the wrestling community, Lauren Ellsmore, was nominated for Female Athlete of the Year, that's got to be pretty dang good for a sophomore season.
Absolutely.
Right? She got nominated because of her sophomore season, still as a junior and senior season. Will Van Epps, nominated for Male Athlete of the Year, not just because he was a wrestling state champion, because he was a bulldozer of a quarterback and also was a great pitcher and baseball player. Now he's over playing at Mankato. I'm hoping I might be able to get caught up with him soon, something I can share with the people. But anyways, Will Van Epps nominated for Male Athlete of the Year. Coach of the Year won Matthew J. Mosseth. I don't know if J is his middle initial. I don't know if his full name is Mothis or Matthew, but it sounds right. And then male team, both RCTC Wrestling and Chatfield Wrestling were nominated. And in my book, they're all winners.
Oh, their website's not updated. I was going to just kind of go through some of the other nominees, but that's fine.
So, Kyle, we basically got 3 loops we need to, close up here. We need to get to our Culvers match of the week. Thank you to Rochester Culvers. We need to get our athlete of the week, brought to you by Culvers. Thank you, Rochester Culvers. And we also got to talk a little bit about the upcoming schedule in which I have tied our trivia.
Okay.
So where do you want to start out of those 3?
Let's do athlete of the week.
I like this one because we already talked about this team. Can I give you credit for this athlete of the week? Because you put this person on my radar. So athlete was down at the Swallow Duels. Cooper Allen of Caledonia went 4-0 at the Swallows. He had a big win over a returning state place winner. He only has 5 losses on the season, and 4 of those losses have been very tight decisions. And get this. I was saying to you, I think he's a sophomore. Like he's a young man up there fighting the good fight at 189 and 215, winning a ton of matches. He is a freshman. Freshman wrestling 189 and 215 for Caledonia, and he's just been a huge part of their recent surge lately. So, Cooper, we're going to get you some swag. Thank you to Culvers for bringing us the athlete of the week.
Cooper Allen, nice job. That's I didn't realize either that he was a freshman. So, is he ranked?
He's a freshman,
it
and
matters.
it's funny because he's a freshman, but he still looks older than Alan Josh's podcast pictures.
Oh, yes.
Actually, Hazel and Lenny are pretty comparable to the age of...
I like that we at least think we're funny.
There's nobody here to laugh, but if they were here, they would be laughing.
They would be, yeah.
Yeah. So there's our athlete of the week. Now, let's talk match of the week, and then we'll tie in trivia with that. Because the theme of the week, you guys read it in the title of the show description here. It's Rivalry Week. ZM and Goodhue are going to be wrestling. Albert Lee and Owatonna are going to be wrestling. And the Rochester City Duels all going on this week. Coincidence? It's got to be a coincidence, right?
Yeah, I don't know. It must be. Yeah.
You know, like college football, they do that intentionally. They have Rivalry Week Gophers are playing Wisconsin while Michigan and Ohio State are playing or whatever. But I think we need to make that a thing if it's not already a thing. Which of these upcoming matches are you fired up for?
Well, I'm going to add one. I kind of mentioned. I don't know if it's going to happen, so I guess it's kind of this next 30 seconds could be irrelevant. But Mounds View Northfield would be pretty fun if that happens on Saturday as well. So
I agree with that.
That one we don't have on here because we don't know what the schedule looks like for Armstrong. But LARP, Dover, Yoda, Caledonia. If you want to try, I'm probably going to that try. That's going to be could be potentially all really good duels just across the board. I'm excited to see Century and see what Century can do against Mayo.
Yep.
I mean, we've talked a lot about Mayo in the last couple of years, and is this the year Century kind of gets it done? What did you? Oh, yep, I can't. That's trivia. So yeah, Century. I'm excited to see that one. PI, PEM, KM doesn't do anything for me. Sorry.
You are disgusting. You're a sicko.
And then, yeah, I think I want to see what Century's got, and I would probably say that LARP, Dover, Yoda, Caledonia. I'm going LARP, Dover, Yoda, Caledonia.
I like where your head is at there. ZM, Goodhue, and Lake Crystal is going to be a ton of fun. Do you know how that ZM Goodhue matchup has gone recently? Like if Goodhue was to win this one.
If Goodhue wins this, they tie the last three. So the last 3 years, it's Goodhue 1, ZM 2.
So if Goodhue wins it, the
Ties
series,
the series up.
series would be knotted at 2-2. Okay.
Yep. So we'll see.
Well, think about that, though. If ZM wins this year, which I'm not saying they're going to, ZM will have won 3 straight matchups against Goodhue. When was the last time ZM won 3 straight against Goodhue?
No idea. It'd be hard to figure out. So we'll see. See how it goes.
I mean, you'd have to look all the way back to like
2021,
2018, 2019, 2021, or anywhere in 2012,
This is Logan Brewer for all you Goodhue people listening.
Hey, I wore the shirt, though. I wore the shirt. I'm drinking the purple Kool-Aid.
So what do you got here?
We have made Goodhue great again. My match of the week, God, that's a great question. I got to go.
Guaranteed you're not going Albert Leo Otana. You've never been west of, I don't know, Wanamingo.
Albert Lee Owatonna is my Culver's match of the week, Kyle.
But he won't go, I guarantee it.
Kyle, give me some money for gas. We're going. On a school night. We're going Thursday night.
Chance.
I have plenty of room in my passenger seat. We'll pull it way back.
I'm not going to buy that until I see a picture of you standing center circle in Albert Lee.
Oh my gosh. If I go, do you think they'll let me stand for the coin flip? You know how like during the NFL,
the celebrity guest,
they bring like a military hero out to the center. God,
yeah.
I'm
so
not
your match of the
that.
week is Albert Lee Owatonna.
So it's Albert Lee Owatonna.
So what
a great
match are you going to go
rivalry.
to? What match are you going to go to then?
Albert Lee Owatonna.
Oh,
it's my match of the week, baby.
And you're actually going to go to it.
I'm going to it. Inject it straight into my veins.
Yeah, that'll be good. There's a big rivalry there. I mean, that's way too far west for me to know much about it, but I think that is a massive rivalry, or it has been in the past.
But get this. Owatonna's head coach is a 2-time state champion at Owatonna. Albert Lee's head coach is a state place winner from Owatonna.
Oh.
Haunting music in the background. You didn't know that note, did you?
That is nice. That's a good little tidbit for you.
Oh, there's a lot of connections. Yeah, those that rivalry, I think it still gets hot in that gym, but I've heard stories about it used to really get loud. You know, ZM, KW type stuff, ZM, KM. I guess ZM with anybody. The more I talk about it, the more I realize ZM has every rivalry.
Why is that?
Because they hot. They've got the Riz. Culver's match of the week. This will tie perfectly into our trivia then, Kyle. The Rochester City duels, we didn't spend a ton of time on that. You mentioned that, though. Century very well could test Mayo. It's going to be a ton of fun. JM's going to throw out some individuals that will compete, and they'll have some good individual matches as well. Here's the trivia for the people in the chat, those of you that have stuck it out with us. How many consecutive Rochester City titles has Mayo won? They've won this triangular a certain amount of years in a row. Everybody gets one guess Closest to the pin wins.
Also, who won? So who won? Who was the last winner of the Rochester City Duels?
Mayo.
No, you said Mayo won how many in a row?
Yeah.
Who was prior to Mayo?
I don't know who won that, to be honest.
Because if you look, I mean, so well, we'll see. We'll see if anybody gets it right. Are you doing a trivia for the greater audience?
Yes. If you're listening on the podcast, we have a couple trivia questions. Which of these do you think I should ask? You see, with those other rivalries, the trivia questions here are all rivalry themes.
You got to go Albert Leo Otana one.
I agree with you.
Yep.
So we've got ZM versus Goodyear. I
like that.
Throw that one out the window.
I like that bottom one of Albert Leo Otana.
Okay.
That's a tough question. That's a tough question, but it'll be fun if people can figure that one out.
Well, the Albert Lee one is very attainable. The Owatonna one is where it gets tough. But I think for our new school people, they'll be able to get the Owatonna one. So if you're listening through the podcast, send us a text using that button in the podcast description that says send us a text. Most career wins. I'm looking for 2 names. I'm looking for the wrestler that has the most career wins at Albert Lee. This wrestler has 220 wins. And I'm looking for the wrestler with the most career wins at Owatonna. This wrestler has 232. And one name you should know. The other one depends on where you're from.
They'll know that once that second one. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's how I was when I saw it.
Yep. So we only have one guest so far in the chat for your how many consecutive have been won by Rochester Mayo.
We are on a delay, so we could vamp here a little bit, do some freestyle.
Do we have any? We're done then? Is that all we got?
That is all we got.
Did we decide on the Heman Tree Service quote of the week?
What was our leader in the clubhouse earlier? I already forgot.
I went to 5 wrestling events in 5 days.
That was good.
Al Venz.
That's good. Also, I like this one leading off right away. Elsmore Plumbing said, "Sorry, I'm late. I just got used to the late start." That's pretty good.
That is good. All right, I think we're just gonna have to award it.
Guerrilla Wrestling Club said he would prefer date number 1, Super Show second, Section 7 ideas third. So we have a vote for date. And
I think the people really want you to go on a date. They're starting to feel bad for you.
why is our Section 7 friend throwing random names in the chat?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Just random Section 7 or Section 1 names.
Ben Boynton's name in the chat. I actually wrestled Ben Boynton my junior year at individual sections. I beat him like 13 or 14-13 in the opening round, and then he pinned me in the 3rd place match. That was just my classic strong finish.
All right.
Do we have a trivia winner?
Well, kind of. Closest to the pin.
Closest to the pin?
Yep.
There it is. There you go, Jill. Congratulations. 7 was a great guess. 8 consecutive Rochester City titles for Rochester Mayo.
And I think send Logan your address. We'll get you.
You're getting a Culver's mug. She's getting a Culver's mug.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
I bet Jill's a coffee person.
So coming up here now, Logan, we are in the last month of the season, counting postseason. What is a week from Saturday?
This is absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah.
What did I call you yesterday or Sunday? I don't remember what day it was, but I called you up and I go, Kyle, 1 week from now, we are going to be previewing girls' individual sections. The postseason it's stinking here. And you know what else is on that day? The HVL JV Invitational.
It is.
Which some would
and
say,
the Three Rivers, I believe.
Some people would say it's bigger than girls section. It's bigger than boys sections. It's as big as the state tournament. That's the HVL JV invite.
It is. So do we have a plan for next week? Are we going live? We doing a podcast? How are we previewing? Oh, it starts a week from Friday.
Thank you, Elsmore Plumbing.
2-dayer.
I like this Tuesday night gig. Gives us time
Tuesday?
to digest stuff, but we should just tweet it out, or I'll put it in my Sunday show again. We'll talk about it. I'll put it in my Sunday show. I don't like the idea of going live on Sunday night, but we'll have to look at our schedules and kick it.
Well, there's
around.
nothing on Sunday. Super Bowl's the week following. So.
I'm not watching anyways.
The Super Bowl. Good. So, all right. That's all I got.
All right, Alan, Josh, stay young.
Stay young.
Stay young. Everybody, thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you sometime.